Hello everybody, welcome back to the channel. My name is Ron, and today I would like to go over the top 5 overclocks in Deep Rock Galactic that I think deserve either a rework or some sort of buff oriented towards them. Because either they're underpicked or they're just kind of meh, in my opinion. Some of them don't have the greatest effects, some of them most people don't pick. So let's talk about these and my suggestions for them. Feel free to leave your own suggestions down in the comments below on any overclocks that you feel need to be changed, whether that be a nerf, a buff, a complete rework if they feel kind of wonky or something, or if they're directly competing with another overclock. I'd really be interested to hear your thoughts. So at our number 5 spot, we have Full Chamber Seal. This is for the burst pistol. What this one does is give you a slight damage increase by 1 point of damage per shot, and it gives you a slight reload speed increase by 0.2 seconds. Both of these are just not that great, and I feel like this one should probably just be changed entirely, not because of its values. You could change the values and obviously make it better. The problem with doing that, though, is that the burst pistol already has 2 other damage overclocks. So it has experimental rounds where you get a lot more damage but less ammo. That's kind of a more fair trade-off, and you can hit certain nice breakpoints there. The other one is lead spray, where you trade off a lot of accuracy, where you have a lot of spread per shot, but you get a lot more damage. That one is also a fair trade, I believe. Either one of those two makes sense to pick, and they do compete with one another, but it really falls down to personal preference. Do you want something that's high damage and has long range, but has the drawback of not having as much ammo? Or do you want something that just has high damage, but very little range? It doesn't affect your ammo, but you're going to have to get up close. So if you're using a weapon like the autocannon, it's going to be kind of awkward to use, because the autocannon is not usually that great at long range. Maybe with Big Bertha and you're running accuracy on it, that could be an option. But Full Chamber still doesn't really fit with either of those, since it's a slight damage increase and a slight reload speed increase. So I'd suggest changing this either completely and making it into another overclock that does something different, maybe something unique for the burst pistol, or if they wanted to keep it more similar to what it is now, make it so either the 3rd shot or the 1st shot of every burst, or maybe the 6th shot, 1st or last shot I guess, gives you an increased amount of damage, maybe based on the other shots that hit, or something that feels a little bit more impactful. Maybe the 1st or the last shot can have a high chance of fearing all enemies around it, or something along those lines, so that it feels a little bit more unique. It has something different. We already have a stun for the burst pistol base, so that wouldn't really be the best. I guess you could add it if it's just the 1st or 3rd shot has like a 50% chance to stun, and then if you're running stun with it, you're pretty much guaranteed to stun the enemy so long as you hit with all 3 shots every time. At our number 4 spot, we have Manual Guidance Cutoff for the Hurricane. This one is just an overall really weak overclock, and it gets outshined by some of the other overclocks that the Hurricane has. This one gives you a speed increase to your rockets by 33%, which that is pretty nice. But as soon as you stop holding down the trigger, all of your rockets' guidance system is cut off, so you can no longer steer the rockets. They will just go flying forward. And they don't get an increased speed, they don't get increased damage, nothing like that. That is just a downside to the Hurricane. One of the big advantages of the Hurricane is that you can steer the rockets at very long range, and this forces you to either hold down the trigger so that you can do that, in which case you're going to be wasting ammo, or it's going to be more difficult for you to actually steer these into enemies at distance so that you can keep getting value out of your shots, or it just forces you to try to fire it and hope that the rocket travels far enough to where it will actually hit the enemy without the enemy moving around, which is also not super realistic because the rockets don't move incredibly fast. Even if you're running full movement speed on them, enemies at longer ranges can still quickly get out of the way. I would suggest probably either rework, having it do something else entirely. You can keep the projectile speed, maybe make it so that the further it goes, it gets faster. Like as soon as you cut off the manual guidance system, it moves incredibly fast, maybe 200% more fast or something like that. Or after you have the manual guidance cut off, the longer it travels, the more AoE damage or the more splash damage that it can accumulate onto other enemies. So if you fire it at really long range and immediately cut it off, maybe it can keep going and hit and spread to a lot of enemies, clear up swarmers or clear up jellyfish or something like that. I think that would make it a much more tempting option. It would be a lot more fun to actually use that way. Right now, I just think it's a downgrade to the Hurricane, and it's not even a fun overclock to be using, unlike some of the other quote-unquote downgrades to the weapons. Coming in at number 3, we have Chain Hit. This is for the Sabata, although you could say Chain Hit for the Revolver too. I think it's less of an issue with the Revolver, because the Revolver, it's just kind of an overclock you throw on because you don't have any others. It's kind of the same thing with the Sabata, but this one just feels a little bit disappointing to me. I wish it did something else. So maybe not a full rework, but just kind of a change in what it does, or a change in the percentage of what it does, or what it can do. Maybe make it so every time that it hits a weak spot, it has a chance of bouncing into another enemy, and then once it bounces, it gives it another % chance to bounce into an enemy, but maybe stops after 3 to 5 bounces or something. just so that it's a bit more fun, just so that you can get a little bit more value out of it. I don't think it would make the Sabata overpowered or anything. Maybe if you gave it to the revolver, it might if you do this. So maybe not do that for the revolver, maybe keep that one the same or change values a little bit, or just change the amount of bounces you can get. You could also potentially just make it so when you do hit weak spots, it can bounce into an enemy and then does the same damage as counting as a weak spot. That would still make it stronger, because if it bounces into an enemy and you hit something like an oppressor, there's a very high chance you're not going to hit its weak spot and do 0 damage to it anyway, so what's the point? I don't know of anybody who runs chain hit on the revolver or on the Sabata regularly. Pretty much everybody that I've talked to just throws it on if it's the only overclock they have, which, yeah, it's a bonus, but it's just sort of a bonus. And I would like it to feel a bit more fun to use if it's just going to be a little bit of a bonus. Number 2 is Supercooling Chamber for the M1000. This one is pretty underpowered at the moment, in my opinion. It does do a lot of damage. It does the most damage out of any, I guess, shot from the M1000. The problem with it, though, is that it has so many downsides, and the upside is still not way great. The M1000 by itself already hits nice breakpoints without anything on it. You can already one-shot, headshot normal grunts, so you don't need to worry about that. And if you take the armor breaking, you can one-shot, focus shot regular grunts too. And just by looking at Supercooling Chamber on paper, it looks good. It looks like something that would be really fun to use, something that would be super strong to use. Right now, though, it's really only useful on like elimination missions if you just want to hit dreadnoughts really hard. If you take it on anything else, it's just going to be outcompeted by a lot of the other M1000 overclocks. Minimal Eclipse and Hipster completely beat it out in just about every category. And even the electric shot usually will outdamage it too, just because you have more bullets with it and the electric shot deals damage over time. I would suggest just buffing this one, not really reworking it. I think the idea of Supercooling Chamber is good. It's just the execution that isn't as great. With it only being on focus shots, that makes it really punishing if you are just shooting regular shots, especially with the ammo decrease. I'm okay with the ammo decrease because you are getting so much more damage. That's fine, but either make the focus shot even more damage than what it already has, because right now it's really not that great. Make it substantially more, or give the base damage more damage on it, so that it at least hits some other breakpoint or something. Maybe just double its base damage. I honestly don't think that would be overpowered at all, because of the amount of ammo that you're losing on it. Yes, you could then take armor breaking and just one-shot, body shot regular grunts with normal shots, but you can already one-shot, headshot them without any mods, and you can already do that with focus shot. One suggestion I've heard people say is take away the movement speed penalty from it. I honestly am okay with that. You can move around pretty quick with Scout with your grappling hook. That's not a huge deal. Even on Hazard 5, you can still kind of make it work. But that combined with the slow targeting speed and the minimal amount of damage that you get from it, it's really not worth it right now. I would like to see this one get buffed. Either just with a straight damage increase, or if you want to go the other way and just give it more ammo, that could be an option too. Just keep the focus speed and the movement speed down. I don't think changing the focus speed and the movement speed would be the greatest option, because at that point it'd still just get outcompeted by the other M1000 overclocks, and I think that at least adds something kind of unique to the weapon. And then coming in at number 1, it's Double Barrel. Probably to nobody's surprise, this is for the jerry-rigged boomstick that Scout has, and this one sounds okay on paper, at least sort of, until you really start to think about it, and then not so much. So what Double Barrel does is you can fire out both barrels. Well, you're forced to fire out both barrels of the Double Barrel at the same time, sort of. It doesn't actually fire them both out at the same time, so it fires them out one after another, but just with a slight delay between the two. That's a little bit weird. I don't know why it's like that. They might as well fire out both. And you get a slight damage increase of 1 damage added to the shotgun, which is nice. Any amount of damage added to the shotgun is great, or any of the shotguns is great, because it applies to all the pellets, so you're getting a multiple of this damage, which is really useful. And the Double Barrel already has really high damage and a lot of pellets, so a damage increase is really nice. The problem comes, though, is when you want to only use one barrel to kill one thing, or want to kill one group of things in an area. You're not allowed to do that anymore with Double Barrel. You're forced to use both barrels. So anytime you want to shoot this at grunts, you may only need one shot to blow through a bunch of grunts. With Double Barrel, you're forced to use 2 ammo, and you're not guaranteed to get any more value out of that. It's fine for big targets where you're just hitting them, because it'll likely take more shots if you're hitting Praetorians or Oppressors or something like that. But you were going to shoot those 2 shots anyway. The other major issue with Double Barrel is that it gets outcompeted by every other overclock that the Double Barrel has. If you want to take any of the other ones, they are all better than Double Barrel. because you could take stuffed shells, which is just a straight upgrade from it because it gives you one more pellet and one more damage, so you're actually getting even more damage and you're not forced to fire out both barrels. You could take the extra ammo, that's a clean one, and you just get more damage overall and better ammo economy once you start picking up resupplies. And you could go with something like jumbo shells if you just want really high damage. So what I would suggest with this one is a complete rework. Make it into an unstable overclock because the double barrel has a wonky array of overclocks. It's got 4 clean, 1 balanced, 1 unstable. Just make it an unstable overclock. Keep it to where it has to fire out both barrels. Maybe make the shot so that it fires slugs out then, so they're more accurate and they're more compressed. Maybe make the pellets like way bigger that are fired from them. But all your damage is compressed into those 2 shots, so it might be better for armor breaking, or just add armor breaking on top of that as a bonus. You could also potentially even add it so that it has a pushback on it. So when you fire it, it has high recoil and pushes you back a little bit. Don't make it so that it's like special powder where it actually like flings you a ways away, but just make it so that when you fire it, it does push you back a little bit. It would make for an interesting mechanic. I think the downside of it firing both barrels is honestly enough to make it an unstable just with that downside. So those are the 5 overclocks that I think need rework / buffs. Tell me your thoughts down below. Do you feel like these ones need rework / buffs? Or do you think they're fine the way that they are? Thanks everybody for watching this. I hope you guys enjoyed it. It was a lot of fun to make. Special thanks to the supporters of this channel. These are my members over here on YouTube and my patrons over on Patreon. They get early access to videos like this. And if you'd like to be a part of it, you can. There are links down in the description. Be sure to check those out. Thanks everybody. I hope you guys have a great day and I'll talk to you next time. Bye-bye.